Hello, this is a movie review for the movie Batman v Superman, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill. It's directed by Zack Snyder and scored by Hans Zimmer. I'm Kiyoshi, and this is Jason. Depending on how it goes, he might be my regular partner, or not. The movie, as you know, stars Superman. He's fighting Batman. Stuff happens, and they do fight. But that's not all they do. Other things happen. As you can tell from the previews of the movie, Batman is mad about what happened 2 years prior to the events of this movie. Superman has destroyed a lot of Metropolis and a lot of Gotham. People got hurt because of Superman's actions, and Batman is not very happy about that. So he wants to put a stop to him any way he can. I thought the movie was kind of boring, actually. About 90 minutes of it was just talking and a lot of exposition and a lot of why they're mad at each other and what they need to do to stop Superman. And the pacing was very slow to me. Should have been faster. A lot of shots that I didn't need. The plotting was very slow and sluggish. Movie mud, film mud, is what I thought about it. The last 30 minutes, a lot of fighting. But it took a lot to get up to that point before that. A big pet peeve of mine is when a movie, especially a movie like this, a superhero movie or any like science fiction movie, has no humor. In this movie, it had a couple of jokes here and there, a couple of funny parts, right?
Yep.
Here and there, but the overall tone for the movie was very uber serious. This world should be a little bit more lighthearted. It shouldn't be super campy. But it shouldn't be so serious either. The Marvel movies get it right. They know how to balance humor and seriousness. If you've ever seen Captain America 2 especially, that one does a good balance of sort of lightheartedness and seriousness. And this one is just too serious. Felt depressing at points. I guess it was a little disappointing for me. I don't know. What'd you think?
I actually, full disclosure, I went to see the movie expecting the worst. I have seen the ratings as far as how critics wrote about the movie. I thought it was an entertaining movie. Was it a great movie? Probably not. There were good scenes, good sequences. I'm a big plot guy and a big acting guy, and there are a lot of small holes and inconsistencies in the plot. It's a superhero movie, so it's a separate universe. There's not too much realism, so to speak, in these movies. But having said that, I expect consistency and some sort of explanations throughout the plot to explain different sequences or how all the characters find out about things and so on and so forth. And I don't think it successfully did that. I felt like the movie rushed. The first half of the movie was kind of slow, like Yoshi said, and the second half was kind of rushing into things. That's why there were a lot of holes in the plot. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of inferences, a lot of foreshadowing, touching on a subject, introducing a new subject, and just leaving it like that. I understand that's because they want to introduce new characters in the upcoming movies, but for someone who's there to enjoy this movie, it was. And like I said, I identify myself as not a big comic book fan. Not that I hate them, but I didn't read them growing up. So for me, it was a lot of plots wasted.
You don't know a lot about the comics. I don't know that much about comics, but I do know one aspect of Batman. It's a big thing amongst fans of the character. The guy is known. This is one of the things about his morals. He's known for not killing anybody. And this guy kills a lot of people in this movie, willy-nilly. He stabs a guy once, and he sort of blows up a couple of guys in their cars. And I just think, I wonder how fans of the character are going to react to that. Because I paid special attention to those parts. And I was kind of like, this guy... they could be trying to reinvent that aspect of the character with this movie. But I think a lot of fans expect their Batman to not kill anybody.
I think I think it was the producer and the director's intent to actually portray Batman as the villain between the two, in my interpretation. because there was a well, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but there was a perception that Superman was this risky figure. So a lot of people were scared of him. But I thought the message that the movie conveyed was this was an egotistical person who's insecure in his limit of power, meaning Batman. Batman was threatened by this other figure who was more powerful than him, and he became, like Kiyoshi said, he became a more violent, more angry person to kind of settle his insecurity. And I thought that was interesting, and I somewhat appreciated that kind of subtle subtone, if you will, of the movie.
What did you like specifically about the movie?
I am a sucker for a action-packed movie. I truly believe that's a gift we have as Americans. Only we can blow shit up, and we looked up the budget. It was about $250 million to make this movie. No other country would dare to spend that kind of money for a superhero movie.
They don't have that much money to spend on.
Exactly. Film. And as a moviegoer, as a spectator, I thoroughly enjoy and appreciate that. Certain actors' acting was good.
Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie as Perry White, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet. He did fine in the really limited role he had. It's a very small role, I think. No complaints about him. Yeah, actually, he had a lot of the comedic moments in the movie, actually. Surprisingly. He had some one-liners, exactly. Wonder Woman was played by Gal
Gadot, I guess.
Gadot, is that how you pronounce it? Gadot?
I would pronounce her name like that.
Gadot? Get it? Gadot, is it?
I'm going to say Gadot. Sounds more expensive, more fancy. Wonder Woman was hot. I'm a sucker for strong women. Go strong women. And I thought, whew, she kicked ass. So that was good.
She was the best part of the movie, definitely.
Yes,
hands
for
down,
me.
by far. Yeah, when we were walking out of the theater, I overheard some woman say, like, Wonder Woman was the best part of the movie. So, good job on Wonder Woman. She was very good, very attractive. Not that it matters to anything, but to me and to him, it's just a trait that we appreciate. She was very powerful. She actually saved some people. She saved some people. She saved some people.
Yes.
And she was actually a big part of the movie, actually. Holly Hunter plays a senator.
That was Holly Hunter.
That was Holly Hunter. She played a senator in the movie who had a smaller role than I thought she was going to have. So I was surprised that it wasn't as large as I thought it was going to be. She didn't add or take away from my enjoyment of the movie. She did well.
And
but
Amy
the
Adams,
character in general was not, it wasn't that important to me.
And Amy Adams, I thought
she plays Lois Lane again.
I was a little bit disappointed, not in her, but her role. I thought she could have been a more significant character.
Again, no, her character is supposed to be fun. If you look at any other incarnation of that character, many TV shows she's been in, she's kind of a fun, feisty character. She's got the feistiness in her, but none of the fun. The same thing in Man of Steel. She was sort of like not fun. Like her interactions with Superman weren't fun at all, and it carries that aspect on over to this movie as well. She needs a lot more fun in her portrayal. Jesse Eisenberg plays Lex Luthor.
I think Jesse Eisenberg did a good job as far as his acting goes, his interpretation, and his way of portraying Lex Luthor. And
I thought his performance was good. He does his part well. I just thought it was sort of a really campy, broad performance. It sort of seemed like it belonged in like a 60s sitcom.
I would actually second that. The movie overall has a very dark, serious tone, except for Jesse Eisenberg.
Exactly.
I think the way his acting shines is by being vibrant, being very active, but somehow it doesn't really mend well with the other parts of the movie.
Doesn't mesh.
Yes.
It doesn't mesh with the other actors' sort of performances. It came off very broad and just out there. It's really like he enunciates every single thing he says. And it's like, and he does that well. The part did not mesh well with the other parts of the movie.
And if I would like to point this out about Ben Affleck. A lot of people I've spoken to, they already didn't want to go watch the movie. Already had their mindset about the movie because Ben Affleck is Batman. But to be honest with you, I don't think he did the movie any wrong. I'm not saying he was the greatest Batman or anything, but at the same time, I think he held the end of his bargain.
I think he did really well as Batman slash Bruce Wayne. Actually, I like him. He looks the part. He looks like Bruce Wayne. Looks like Batman.
So if the movie fell short, I wouldn't blame it on Ben Affleck.
I think he's one of the best parts of the movie. He works. What do you think about Henry Cavill as Superman?
I think it was okay, but same thing. I think his tone, the image or the aura he brings to the movie didn't quite mesh or fit with Jesse Eisenberg's character or even Batman's character, in my opinion.
Really, yeah, his performance was down for me. It just felt like he wasn't charming.
Yeah,
Superman should be charming and very like dashing and smiling half the time. In this movie, he's sort of just sad and brooding all the time, and he just felt very depressed throughout the movie. And I feel like you gotta be peppy as Superman. Christopher Reeve did a great job as Superman. He was always charming. He was always smiling. I don't think the character needs to be happy all the time, but he should have charm. And Henry Cavill, he has it. He didn't display it in this movie very much. I just think that was a misstep. The movie was scored by Hans Zimmer. I did listen to the whole soundtrack, and I still stand by my thoughts on recent Zimmer. He just gives sort of mood music to these movies. His last couple of movies, he's just becoming less and less interesting over the years. I mean, even his scores for The Dark Knight were sort of uninteresting and kind of boring. He doesn't score the movie itself. He just provides some background, I don't want to say noise, but it's sort of background music. It's sort of glorified mood music for me. I don't think it's like an actual score for me.
I thought there was one part of the movie that he kind of shined. For me, a good music is, you cannot, if you notice the background music or the soundtrack of the movie too often, I think that's a bad soundtrack. It should enhance the emotion that the sequence or the plot tries to convey to the audience. But having said that, I do agree with Kiyoshi. It didn't really do much. It was just a background music. I'm sure that's not easy to do, but having said that, it didn't give extra emotion to the audience. But at one section of the movie, I thought like, ooh, goosebumps.
And I liked, his Pirates of the Caribbean scores actually, but like his last couple of scores, I just feel like it was not overrated, because I don't think anybody rated it highly, but just not exciting. And I just miss the themes of John Williams and Danny Elfman. Hans Zimmer really recently just provides sort of just like general background music.
I would say you would not like this movie if you liked other Marvel movies. Marvel movies is very fun, very, very lighthearted, and
it has a good balance between lightheartedness and seriousness. I thought it started off well.
Yes,
I think it really got me engaged. So Batman they showed the destruction of Metropolis and Gotham from Batman's perspective, to show why he has this animosity towards Superman. And I thought that was a good character building segment. I just thought the middle was very, very slow as molasses.
And you would like this movie if you enjoyed Man of Steel. I did not hate Man of Steel, so maybe that's why if I had to say, I enjoyed the movie rather than hated the movie. And you would also like the movie if you're a just fan of Batman and if you're a fan of comic books. I don't think you'd be that much disappointed if you're a fan of the comic books. I mean, just to see your comic book characters reincarnated and big screen, I think that's a pleasure to watch. So I think you would enjoy it if you're a fan of comic books.
If you're a big fan of Batman, I think you would like this movie.
I object.
Okay. Objection here.
I am a huge Christopher Nolan Batman fan. I think The Dark Knight, the second one of the trilogy,
But
is.
so you're talking about the movies, though, specifically his movies,
But
not the
here's-
comic book character in general.
But we live in an era, or at least this is how I perceive it. We
Okay.
live in an era where you don't really have to focus on what the comic book characters or the way they were depicted. My superheroes are based on the most recent, most successful movie. My Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man because that was the most recent, most successful movie. And for me, Batman is Christian Bale, Dark Knight movies. So, and it didn't do that justice as far as the character goes and the depth of the character goes in this movie.
Of course not. It only had like an hour and a half to get that across.
Yes.
So of course it's not gonna and he had shared it with two other superheroes actually. So, but within that time constraint, I think he did well. How many stars would you give this movie, Jason?
6.5 stars.
6.5 stars.
And let me elaborate. I don't think the movie is bad. I am somewhat confident a lot of people who watches this movie would thoroughly enjoy it. I think 6 out of 10 people would enjoy it. Some people would enjoy it very much.
I would give this movie 5.5 stars. I was really bored in the beginning of this movie, all the way until like the last third or the last half, probably actually just the last fourth of the movie. Even then, I thought the action wasn't as great as it was in Man of Steel.
I agree.
Although I did like there was a final fight scene between Batman and a lot of sort of bad guys, and I liked that scene. There's a Batmobile chase scene that actually I kind of liked, but I also think it was edited
Yeah, it was
not
too dark.
great. It was really
Too
darkly
dark, too fast.
It was dark.
Yeah.
But I liked it because of the Batmobile, and I thought the Batmobile was good and cool.
If you're not a big fan of superhero movies, or if you're not a big fan of Batman or other, if you're not a true enthusiast, I think you would enjoy this movie. I think it's fun. A lot of things happen.
Really?
It's
It was
visually. I think it's fun. It's fun enough.
I
It's
don't
hard
think it
to
was
make
fun. I don't
movies.
think it was fun enough. It did not. It was not fun. It was
I
not
thought
fun.
it
These
was
guys
fun.
were just really depressed and sad about stuff all the time, and action sequences in the Avengers or Captain
But
America.
that's
those things are
lighthearted
fun.
fun.
But even then, no. It's sort of. I think it. Like I said, it strikes a good balance, even in the action scenes between lightheartedness and seriousness. But in this one, I just feel like it was sort of just.
No, but I do.
It was not
agree.
fun.
If you like Marvel movies, you would not like this movie. So I'm talking about people who might not have enjoyed Marvel movies for whatever reasons, and you still like action movies, and you happened to be a non-comic book fan. You would. I mean, I'm being serious. I'm not saying you're weird if you like it, but I can totally see someone who hasn't seen too many action hero movies and liking this.
I thought it was not fun, boring, overly serious, but it looked good. The acting was good. Nothing, no breakout performances, no Oscar-worthy performances. Of course, their acting was appropriate. The costumes were great. The music was but
there's 4 arms.
and everybody looked the part. So that's why I got the half. I think. I guess it was shot well. It looked good. Like I said, the effects were good.
Okay.
Well, but that's about it.
Don't blame it on Ben. That's what I would say. That's what you should take away from this review. Don't blame it on Ben. I think the casting was okay. It wasn't phenomenal, but I think it was sufficient. The plot, it's where it fell apart. Of course, in movies like this, it's not just script to the movies. There's a lot of other factors that was one half of the movie was nothing happening, and the second half of the movie was too much stuff going on. So the plot is the weakest link in the movie. I would say. If you like Zack Snyder movies, I think he's a well enough known name now, and you probably have seen at least 1 or 2 of his movies if you're a frequent moviegoer. So you would enjoy this. I believe you would still enjoy this movie if you're a Zack Snyder fan.
But if you like the Christopher Nolan's Batmans, maybe not. Those were superior Batman films. Although I like Ben Affleck as Batman.
I wouldn't go as far as I liked him. I think he did a sufficient job. Subtle difference.
It's
but
not
still
an
different.
endorsement.
No.
Not at all.
It's okay. Yeah, it's indifference.
Watch my review for the movie Zootopia. It's going to be probably over this guy's head. That's a much better movie. Much better movie. If you have extra bucks, though, you can watch this movie. It's not a complete waste of time, but it's not great.
I say still go watch it. 6.5 stars. There are a lot of movies that's not good enough. Still go watch it. Just not with your girlfriend, unless you want to make out. It's boring enough you can make out.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.